I'm Sofia Bernardi, mindset and business coach supporting ambitious new and rising coaches plus service-based businesses to master their mindset, create an aligned and profitable strategy, and grow a six-figure business using the Rising Coach method. I built a multi-six-figure business by the age of 24, and in this podcast, I will teach you the psychology, strategy, and energetics to do the same. Let's dive in. Hello everyone, and welcome to Rising Coaches with Sofia Bernardi. I am so grateful you are here, whether you are watching me on YouTube right now or watching the Spotify version video, or you're listening to me whilst on your walk or in the car or cleaning the dishes. I am so grateful you are here. And I'm really excited about today's episode because I haven't really done anything like this. And today I'm sharing with you the 10 habits you must adopt to become a successful coach. And of course, this is coming from my personal opinion and experience, but I get asked these sorts of questions quite a lot as I coach coaches to grow their business in a sustainable way, in a fulfilling way, and to get results kind of quickly as well. And I grew my business really quickly. I earned my first six figures in the first 12 months of being a coach. And I was a mindset coach, for the record. The only way to make money is not through being a business coach. That's another misconception I hear quite a lot. And I'm now in year 3 of business, and we have generated over $500,000. And this has not been by accident. This has been through investing heavily in myself and consistently. And this has been through adopting some really important habits that I didn't necessarily have prior to starting a business, by the way. I wasn't born with these habits. I'm not any different or better than anyone else. I've learned these habits, and I'm going to share my personal opinion on why they are so important as well. So let's dive in, and these are also in no particular order. This is just what's really come from my heart and soul and what I think it requires personally to grow a thriving, sustainable, profitable online business. Any business for that matter, but in particular a business where you are providing a service. So yeah, let's dive in. Number 1 is discipline. Now, discipline sounds like a really masculine, hard rule, or word, should I say? And I don't want you to see it that way. I see discipline as, a skill set, a habit to adopt that allows you to move through even when things feel really tough. And I don't mean this from the way of not listening to your body. I always believe in listening to your body first and foremost. However, sometimes if we're not really good at knowing what's driving our behavior, then it can be quite easy to always feel like we need rest or always, not do the thing. Whereas sometimes really what we need to do is just get out of our own way and do it. There is a time and place 100% for rest. I'm such a big believer in listening to yourself. But in the early stages of business, it's often not that we need rest. It's actually that we need to move through the fear and doubt. And only you can truly know what feeling is coming up for you. But discipline allows you to move forwards. And when you start a business, and to be honest, at any point in business, it's not always fun, sunshine and rainbows, and super easy and abundant. That absolutely is a part of business, but you mostly experience that after having gone through the discipline of moving through that discomfort. The thing is, when you start a business, everything's new, everything's scary, everything's unknown. And so it's really important that you have support, and it's really important that you have discipline, because otherwise fear and doubt will basically be telling you constantly, don't do that thing, just stop, don't go there, because it's out of our comfort zone, and our brain does not like being out of our comfort zone. So it will do almost anything to keep you in your comfort zone. And this is where discipline's so important, because if you have that, then despite the discomfort, the uncertainty, and the fear that arises, you can actually move through that.
So that's why I think discipline is super, super important, because you are all of a sudden, when you start a business, incorporating a whole new facet to your life. And no one really walks around with all of this spare time in their life. You have to create time for it. And that might mean having some trade offs in the beginning of business where you have to say no to certain social events, or wake up a little earlier, or go to bed a little bit later. And if you don't have discipline, that's going to be really, really difficult. Okay. So I really believe that, just being completely honest, there's going to be trade-offs in the beginning, if especially if you're working a full-time job currently and you're wanting to start and grow an online business, and if you have children, like that absolutely adds things to the fire. And we need the discipline to be willing to find a way if this is something we really, really want. Okay. So no one's making you do anything, but if you want to grow an online business, you're going to need discipline. So I hope that's kind of reframed the masculine like terms of discipline to just help you see that it's actually just supporting you to get through that discomfort so that you can step into the ease and the abundance, that I absolutely now get to experience quite often in my business. I still need discipline. I still have discipline. Just for context, it's 7:30 in the morning here on a Sunday as I'm recording this, right? Because I've got at the time of recording this, in a few days' time, my family that I haven't seen for 4 years. Can you believe it? I have not seen my mum for 4 years, and I haven't seen my sister for about 3 years. They are coming here to Australia. And so I am, being super, super organized, using discipline to prepare as much as humanly possible so that when they come, I can completely take 3 weeks off in my business, completely checked out. And that requires discipline. So even though I'm 3 years in business, I still need discipline. And every single coach that I know, whether they have $1 million or multiple millions of dollars, because I absolutely work in containers surrounded by those kinds of people, they utilize discipline. So it's not just for the beginning stages of business, it's just used differently in different stages. So discipline really supports me. But at the same time, I'm so happy I'm here at 7:30 in the morning on a Sunday recording episodes. This is a decision I made. So it didn't feel like, okay, Sophia, let's go. Get your ass together. Like, go record the podcast. I was like, do you know what? I'm awake. I have a lot of energy. My partner and I got to hang out today, but he's still asleep right now. So why don't I record some podcast episodes? I love talking to you guys, And so I just came here and did it spontaneously. So it didn't feel like forcing or pushing or anything like that. But I just am aware that I have, quite a number of things that I get to do in my business this week before my family arrives, and I have some opportunity now. So rather than just sitting in bed scrolling on my phone, I'm going to come here, and that's discipline. Discipline is also going to the gym Monday to Friday, even if I don't really feel like it. Of course, if I really, really don't feel like it, I listen to that. But often when I quote unquote don't feel like it, it's just because I'm being lazy and can't be bothered, not because I actually shouldn't. Do you know what I mean? And it's you that has to be able to determine the differences there. So that is discipline. It is super, super important. And I see a lot of new coaches lack discipline. They have a lot of reasons and excuses of why they can't do what it is they say they want to do. And I see that that's why they don't create the business that it is they desire, because they're not willing to utilize discipline. So if this triggered you in any way, I really do apologize, but I hope that calls you into action. This is absolutely not to call anyone out. It's just to support you to see areas where you may be able to improve so that you can grow your business, because that's what we all want. I would love to see so many more thriving, happy coaches out there that are making a positive impact, helping more people. And that's going to require discipline. If it were really that freaking easy, I think a lot more people would, one, have a business where they're working on their own terms, doing something they're truly passionate about. Not to say that you can't be passionate working for someone else, of course not. But I think there would be a lot of people that would move towards their dreams that they keep locked up in their head. And two, I think there would be a lot more successful people doing their dreams because they've mastered the benefits and the habit of discipline. All right, number 2, consistency. So many people hate this word. So I've got my green juice right now. I'm just going to cheers to that because, I've got a lot to say about consistency. Okay, so consistency does not mean constantly. If you need to listen to that 5 times, do so. Consistency does not mean constantly. They are two different things. So when I talk about consistently, I do not mean constantly, unless I am to say constantly. Consistency is something so many people struggle with. They struggle with following through on what it is they say they're going to do. Right? And I believe this is for many reasons. One, going back to discipline of it being uncomfortable, it being really hard, but 2, because it requires following through on a regular basis, like on a consistent basis, It requires doing something over and over again, and external factors come in the way of that, and you need to be willing to show up regardless. Consistency is key, okay? If you post one post and you put a lot of time and effort into it, and then you're just hoping there with your fingers crossed praying that people are just going to buy your services because you spent all of this time on your post, and then no one likes it, no one comments on it, no one reacts to it, no one buys from you, no one messages you, no one follows you on your call to action. You're like, that's it, I'm not doing it, it doesn't work. And then you don't show up for 2 weeks, and then you have this mental battle with yourself, and then you do that again and again and again and again. You are consistently not being consistent, right? That's not consistency, okay? Consistency is choosing an amount of times you want to show up on social media, doesn't matter how many, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times per week, and sticking to that no matter what. That is consistency. Not so much on the number, but following through on that number consistently. So if you say to yourself you're going to post 3 times a week, post 3 times a week. Not 4, not 2, not 1, not 7. Post 3 times a week. That is consistency. And so with consistency, you want to choose an amount of times that you're going to do something and follow through on it. There's no right number. It's not like if you post 4 times over 5 times or 3 times over 5 times or whatever, that you're going to be more or less successful, because that's not what makes you successful. What makes you successful is your thoughts. It's the power of your thoughts. Because your thoughts create feelings in your body, and based on your feelings, you will take or not take certain actions, and your actions will create your results. So it starts with your thoughts. And so where consistency comes in is typically if you've said to yourself that you are going to post 3 times a week and then you don't, that's usually because you've got some sort of thought that isn't supporting you to follow through on your dreams. Probably that you feel you're not good enough, or you don't know what you're doing, or it's not working, and that's what's actually creating your results, because that leads you to be inconsistent. And then when you don't do the thing you say you're going to do, that creates more stories of like, see, you're not good enough. See, you can't even post a post. All of those sorts of stories. If this is relating to anyone, by the way, come message me on Instagram and let's chat, because we can change this, right? Because when you create a business that actually lights your soul on fire and you are so excited by it, it's so easy to show up. I have posted consistently 5 times per week in my business at a minimum for the entire 3 years of my business. Not because 5 is some magical number. That doesn't make me more or less successful than someone else that posts less. That's not what it's about. It's simply because my very first coach told me that that's how much you should be posting every single week. So that's what I did. I learned the habit of creating 5 posts per week consistently. Sometimes that would take me a full day to write a couple of posts. I was working 5 different jobs when I first started my business, and so I had Sundays to create content and get prepared for the week, knowing that the week gets very, very busy across all of my different jobs. And I would take the whole Sunday sometimes to write 5 posts, and sometimes I really struggled to even write 5. Now I can write 30 posts in one day, because I've mastered the habit of consistently doing something. So the reason why consistency is so important, because one, you're following through with yourself, which is going to lead to really positive self-talk. Two, it's very, very, rare that you'll do something once and it works. Like, who drove a car for the first time and had no issues? Who rode a bike for the first time and had no issues? Who started a business and just like everything just worked from day one? No, there's so many habits. There's so many things you need to do in order to become successful. And that is through the power of consistency. Those that succeed and those that don't, the only difference is one kept going. That is the only difference. It's not that they had some magical head start. It's not that they're better than you. It's not that they, didn't have any challenges in the beginning. They did, but they just kept going anyways. And this is something I really pride myself on, is I absolutely went through the phase and occasionally still have these phases where no one's buying, no one's commenting on my content, no one's liking my content, no one's reaching out to me. A lot of people are saying no. Like, I've gone through those phases. And those phases will come no matter who you are or what stage of business you're at. Like, I see it all of the time from, mentors I work alongside, or, people that are in the same programs as me, like, that are very, very quote unquote successful and go through these challenges, by the way. So this doesn't go away necessarily. It just gets easier and you get faster, and you're able to move through things faster. That's the only difference. You're not immune to struggles and challenges in business. It's just different challenges. But the only difference between the people that are thriving now in business is they were just able to stay in the game when nothing was working. You know what I mean? And this is why consistency is key, because if you are so up and down, then you haven't truly started, you haven't truly committed. And commitment is so freaking important. So, my friends, choose a number and stick to it. And this isn't just for your business. This is with anything. Consistency is key. You don't go to the gym once and you walk out with a six pack and, your perfect body. You never have to work out again. No, if you don't go back again, you're going to end right back where you started. And you probably will go to the gym for months on end and see literally no changes, because it's about the consistency. You don't have that expectation where you go to the gym and you're going to look different when you come out. So why do you do that in your business? It's the same thing. That's why I go to the gym consistently 5 days a week. I post 5 days a week. Again, nothing to do with the number 5. This is just a number that feels really good for me and I stick to it. Okay? And that consistency is totally why I am where I am, because I was just willing to do things even when they weren't working. And I'll talk more with some later habits on what supported me to go through those tough times. All right? Now, number 3 is self-responsibility. This is a really, really important one. And quick backstory, even before I started a business, I used to blame a lot of people for why my life was the way it was. I blamed my dad for, having his addiction issues, which led to my family moving overseas to Denmark. I blamed him for years. I blamed my mum. I blamed a lot of people basically for why my life the way it was. I just blamed. I took no self-responsibility because it wasn't my fault. It was other people's fault. It was completely out of my control. But with that being said, because I was so busy blaming other people for why my life was the way it was, that also resulted in not moving forwards. It resulted in staying stuck. It resulted in, a really, really, really tough time of my life that I honestly don't have much joy reflecting back on, because I was just in so much pain. And when I look back and reflect, the biggest reason why I struggled was because I was blaming and not taking any self-responsibility. After now having, read so many books and invested in, events and seminars and courses and coaches and, retreats and all of the things, I've learned a thing or two about life and how to move through challenges and how to create fulfillment, how to create success and all of those sorts of things. And one of the most important things I've learned is the power of self-responsibility. And this is why. Imagine you are holding this ball right now. Just imagine you're holding this ball and it's your power. It's your own personal power. And we need power to be able to do things, just like, your light bulb right now needs power and all of those sorts of things. We need power to work. And when you blame someone, what you've actually done is that ball you're holding right now, you've given it to that person. And then you're left with no power to do anything about it because they have the power, because it's their fault, right? And then you're left helpless and stuck. Well, I can't do anything because it's not my fault, right? But here's the thing, it's your life. So it might not be your fault, but it's still your responsibility. And this was the big breakthrough I had. So let me repeat that again. It might not be your fault, but it is your responsibility, right? Really let that sink in. It might not be your fault, but it is your responsibility. Just really want that to sink in for people, because this one sentence alone changed my life. I was so busy blaming people because I wanted them to change the mess that they had created. But all that allowed me to do in my life was sit and wait and hope and twiddle my thumbs and stay stuck. And the only one that really experienced consequences for this was me. It was me that suffered, not the people I was blaming, right? Because I'm the one that gave my power away by blaming. So it was only when I took my power back and took self-responsibility and was like, right, this situation is not my fault, but it is my responsibility to get myself out of it because it's my life. No one's coming to save me is what I realized. I was kind of hoping someone was going to come save me, and that just simply didn't happen. And that's when I was like, right, time to change my life. And this is where things started to change. And so in business, yes, we hire coaches because we want to create a fulfilling, thriving life and business. And we want that support and handheldness. And absolutely, I'm a big, fan of that. I always have a coach. But I always remember that my results are not the responsibility of my coaches. It's my coach's responsibility to support me and be there for me, but it's actually my responsibility to do the work and to get the results, not hers, right? And so having this radical self-responsibility has given me power to do something about it, right? And that is why I am where I am in my business today, because I've taken self-responsibility. I do want to just share with a word of caution that self-responsibility can sometimes be taken too far, to the point where you're actually blaming yourself. Like it's your fault. That's not what this is about. It's about responsibility, not blame or fault. Okay, so it's not your fault, but it's just your responsibility. So the reason I say this is because when I learned the power of self-responsibility, I took it too far and I started blaming myself for things instead. And that just resulted in really negative self-talk and also not moving forwards, because now I was blaming myself. So I still didn't have the power, right? So it was only when I was able to differentiate the two that things really changed.
Are you ready to create aligned, scalable results in your coaching or service-based business? If so, I'd love to work with you. I support my clients through my signature programs, Rise to Coach, which is for new coaches or service providers wanting to sign their first clients, and Rise to 6 to scale to consistent 10K months. DM me at Sofia Rose Bernardi on Instagram to learn more and see if one of my programs is the right fit for you.
Okay, number 4 is organization. Now, this is something I have had since I was born. It's organization. I've been a neat freak since I can remember. I loved cleaning my room, and most kids would ask their parents for like a lollipop after school, or food or something like that. And I would always wish for my mum, like sometimes like when I was at school, I'm like, can you clean my room? Even though it was clean. But I just knew when she like sprayed, what is that called? Like cleaner stuff, and dusted things off. And when she made my bed, it was just so much nicer than when I did it. And so my favorite thing was like her cleaning my room, like mopping my floors and things like that. And I was like 7, I have no idea why I was like that. But I've just always been organized. So that is something that I'm very grateful for, that I've had from quite a young age. But obviously it has absolutely evolved and improved over time, because it's kind of a hobby of mine. Fun fact, I used to declutter people's homes before I became a coach. that was one of the 5 jobs I was doing, was decluttering people's homes. I'm a bit of a minimalist. And yeah, so organization has been absolutely life-changing for me in my business, because if you don't have structures and systems in place, then you can't possibly have freedom and flow. So organization allows you to have freedom and flow. It allows you to focus your time and energy on the things that matter most, not finding things and sorting things out and like having your sticky notes all over the place with like just no structure at all. Like that actually costs you so much time and energy. Whereas if you have systems in place, like where you organize certain files, like every single thing has a home and you have like a schedule. And this doesn't mean being super rigid, like calendar blocking every 4 minutes in your calendar. Like I don't do that. You can do that. That totally works for people. But like, I don't necessarily mean you have to go that end of the spectrum if you don't want to. I mean, basic organization, like where is your tasks like for the day and the week? Like where do you store all your Google documents? Where do you organize your content for the week? Where do you put things? Instead of like, if you have like a full desktop full of like stuff right now, like yikes, okay, I need to help you organize your Google Drive or something like that. Like, where do you store things? My computer could break right now and I wouldn't even flinch, because everything of mine is saved like on Google Drive, which just automatically saves things. So I could log in on my phone, on my laptop, on my iMac, or I could buy a new one and log in, and everything I need is in one place. So everything is all in one place, and that makes my life so freaking easy. So organization is absolutely key to success as a coach. Now, the next one is, where are we at? We've done discipline, consistency, self-responsibility, and organization. So number 5 is evaluations. Now, evaluations have absolutely changed the game in my business. An evaluation is evaluating what is working, what is not, and what you're going to do differently. This is my favorite practice that I teach all of my clients to do after everything they do, every sales call, every launch they do, like every first masterclass or challenge, is we evaluate it. We evaluate their weeks, we evaluate their days, we can evaluate anything. And this is the first thing I do before we go and make any changes. Because if you aren't clear on the answer to those 3 questions, how can you possibly make aligned, intentional and strategic changes? So the 3 questions you want to ask yourself is, what is working? What is not working? And what are you going to do differently? Because even if it feels like you had a total failure of a launch, there will still be aspects of that worked. And even if you had the most amazing launch, there will still be things that didn't work. And based on those 2 answers, you can put a plan together on what you're going to do differently next time. I do this every week and every month in my business, and anytime I'm feeling somewhat stuck, and it is so helpful, and I break down the full process to my clients because it's just a game changer. All right, number 6 is goal setting. Now, if you don't have a goal, then you just have a wish. And if you don't have a goal, then you don't have a target that you're moving towards. And then what is all of this for? This is probably why you are giving up. This is probably why you're struggling, because you don't actually know what you want and why you want it and how you're getting there. Like, you have to have clearly mapped out, strategic, intentional, powerful goals. I'm a big believer on setting big, bold, ambitious goals. My goal isn't to necessarily reach the goal, it's who I become through the goal. And that's why I'm happy setting really big goals that feel nearly impossible at that point, because it stretches me so much that I have to transform into a different person. Of course, the aim is to reach the goal, but it's not about reaching the goal. It's about who I become in the process of reaching the goal. That's the stuff that matters. And that's why I don't set these small, achievable goals. I set really big and bold goals, because it allows me to become a newer, better, improved version of myself. It's about the growth. It's about the journey. We spend very, very small moments of our life in those achievement phases, 99% of our life is like everything in between. So at the end of the day, that's what matters most. But goal setting gives you something to wake up to and move towards. And I love that. And it's been so helpful, because otherwise, why are you going to go to the effort to spend your Sunday writing posts? Why are you going to go to the effort to get out of your comfort zone and go live and share your truth to people? Why are you going to handle people's objections on a sales call? Why are you going to follow up with people? You're simply not going to do those uncomfortable things if you don't have something you're moving towards. So set something that is bigger than you. What is your why behind all of this? You need to have lots of reasons why. Fun fact, I actually sat down and wrote 200 reasons why my goal is a must. 200 reasons. And I printed it out and I would read it every day. That's how fucking dedicated I am to my mission. My mission is to help humanity rise, and I can't do that alone. I need more coaches that are actually thriving and succeeding in order to help humanity rise. I can't do that by myself. So you can see I've got a really, really big goal, and I've got a lot of reasons of why that's my goal and why that's so important to me. And that's what gets me out of bed at 7:30 on a Sunday recording podcast episodes for you. Because if something in this episode, impacts you positively, that might be the very difference in moving towards your business and giving up, right? So I hope that this impacts you. It might be the difference between you now saying yes to yourself and investing in your business so you can finally learn the skill set that's actually required to grow your business. And then you're going to succeed, right? That could be the difference. And that makes what I'm doing so worth it right now. And that's the power of goal setting. Okay, so we've talked about discipline, consistency, self-responsibility, organization, evaluations, goal setting. And now for number 7, we are talking about relationship building. Relationship building is so, so important. This habit is a must. Do you know why? Because as a coach or a healer or a mentor or a service provider, we are providing a service for people. So stop being scared of talking to someone. Stop being scared of starting conversations. Stop being scared of following up. Stop being scared of holding people to their highest. Stop avoiding relationship building, because without relationships, you might as well stare at a wall all day and talk to the wall, because it will not grow if you do not build relationships. And you want to put relationship building at the very top of your priority list in your business, because no sale comes without a human being saying yes to you, okay? So you need to prioritize learning how to communicate your message, how to build rapport, how to build trust, how to help people feel seen and heard and understood and safe, how to help people step in safely to the next level version of themselves. This all stems from quality relationship building. So don't avoid the only thing you actually need to worry about when it comes to growing your business, is building relationships with your potential customers and with your clients. Okay? Now, the next thing I want to talk about is caring about money. Do you know how often I see in the online space people saying, I don't care about money. I'm not doing it for the money. I mean, like, money's just a number. Like, I don't care about money. Well, guess what? If you don't care about money, then money doesn't care about you. You have to care about money, because otherwise you do not have a business. You have a hobby. So you need to decide right now, which one do you want? Do you want a hobby where you stay in your 9 to 5, right? Or your current reality, which if you're happy with, perfectly fine. There's no right option here. But if you want a hobby, then yeah, you can stay in your 9 to 5 and you can work on your so-called passion on the side. And if that works for you, then amazing. Then you've got that sorted. However, if you don't want to do that and you actually want a business, then you need to make money. And if you want to make money, you need to first care about money. You need to get rid of your bullshit stories around what money means. Society has, for whatever reason, made money extremely taboo and scary and uncomfortable and seem bad and evil. And that is just not the case. Money is actually just paper or plastic, depending on where you live. It's not good, and it's not bad, and it's not evil, and it's not amazing. It's a tool. It's paper, guys. It only has the meaning that you attach to it. So what story do you want to attach to money? And I don't know about you, but money helps me a lot. It puts a roof over my head. It allows me to like be in front of a camera. It allows me to not sleep on the street at night. It allows me to give back to others. It allows me to buy food and put food on the table. It allows me to drive from A to B. It allows me to purchase a gym membership. It allows me to help people that are really struggling. It allows me to buy gifts for my family and my friends. It allows me to go see my family overseas. It allows me to live my life and survive and thrive. That all comes from money, whether we like that or not. That is the current currency of trading around the world. And without it, honestly, you're going to struggle. Like, you're really going to struggle. It's not fun. I know people that have $2 in their bank account and in a lot of debt. And I just could not think of anything worse. That breaks my heart, makes me want to cry. Like, that's so sad to struggle that much, where you've got 3 children and you're single and you're in thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of debt, and you're living paycheck to paycheck. And once you've paid all of your bills for the week or for the month, you're left with nothing. You can't leave the house. You can't have anything go wrong in life, and you're just meant to struggle. Like, that's horrible. I don't know about you, but I want to care about money so much that I love money, and that I move towards money, and that I see it as a safe place to keep and to invest and to grow and to bring in more. Like, that's what I want. And I'm not saying that we need to want the same things, but I'm saying if you want to be a successful paid coach or service provider, then you need to care about money. Care about money in the sense that you need to have removed all of your limiting stories about what will happen if you have a lot of money. Some people think people won't like them anymore. People think that like something bad's going to happen. People think that, you won't care anymore because of like what society has taught us and what movies have shown us. But there's also so much evidence of people with a lot of money who do really, really good things. Think about Oprah. Think about Ellen DeGeneres. Think about Tony Robbins. Think about so many people, to be honest. Like, that's just like a couple of examples. There are so many people where money has allowed them to give and contribute and make a real positive impact, right? That car you're driving, that computer you're using, that phone you're on, that's all come through someone having money and investing money and creating something, and you're only got it in your space right now because of money. Like, you got to be grateful for that. That's an incredible tool that allows you to create so much abundance. And whilst money is not everything, it doesn't necessarily create happiness. It absolutely helps. I don't care what anyone says. I would really, really struggle to be happy if I had to pay for food and bills and a roof over my head for not just myself but my children as well, and I didn't have the means to do so. That would put me personally in such a state of stress. Like, my goodness. So I love money, because it has allowed me to give to my clients and my friends and my family and myself. And it's beautiful. And so money only enhances who you are as a person. So if you are a good person, then you don't need to worry about becoming a bad person. It's just going to enhance who you already are. And that's amazing. We want more of who you are out there in the world. So care about money enough to know your numbers, to know your profit and loss, to know your goals, to look at your account, to have goals, all of the things. Care about money enough that you're going to do the money work required. All right. We've got 2 more to go. The next thing is communication. This is a habit and a powerful skill set. Communication kind of goes back to relationship building. Communication is the foundation of business. It's being able to get your message across in a way that inspires and educates and empowers people into action. It's your ability to hold people to their highest when they're stuck in fear and doubt, getting in their own way and staying exactly where they are. Communication allows you to spread your truth and your message, right? Like I'm doing right now. This is communication. It has a lot of power when used effectively. It also has a lot of power when used incorrectly. And that's why we want to master the habit of, healthy, inspiring communication that doesn't harm others, but just supports others. This is so, so important. And then the last habit that I really want to touch on is being optimistic. Okay, so like I was saying earlier, your thoughts are what create your reality. Your thoughts are everything. So if you tell yourself you can't, then you can't. If you tell yourself it's going to be hard, then it's going to be hard. If you tell yourself that you can't do it, then you won't do it. And so having that positive optimism about, like a positive, optimistic perspective on, your future and on yourself and what you're doing and how you're doing it, believing in yourself and in your coach and in the process, that's going to allow you to move forwards regardless of the challenges in your way. Whereas when you're not optimistic and you're already just assuming the worst, it sets you up for failure. And this is a choice that you have. It's a choice to have a certain perspective. And going through a healing journey with your coach can be super, super powerful to release some of the past conditioning that's leading you to have a certain perspective on yourself and on the world and on life, right? But through shifting that and being aware of the perspective that you have, it can allow you to become more optimistic. And when you have that self-belief prior to something even happening, that's going to allow you to move forwards with clarity, with abundance, with confidence, with ease. Okay, so they are the 10 habits that you must adopt to become a successful coach. I would love to know which habit was your favorites. Let me know on Instagram. Come say hi there. I would love to hear your feedback on which one you feel like you really need to adopt and incorporate in your life. I hope you have the best day or night wherever you are in the world and whenever you're listening. I love you all, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
Are you ready to create aligned, scalable results in your coaching or service-based business? If so, I'd love to work with you. I support my clients through my signature programs, Rise to Coach, which is for new coaches or service providers wanting to sign their first clients, and Rise to 6 to scale to consistent 10K months. DM me at Sofia Rose Bernardi on Instagram to learn more and see if one of my programs is the right fit for you.